goblins and ghouls and otherwise grotesque creatures of the night. Welcome to Held Captive Media's special Halloween month. Ooh. And if you guys don't know, my name is Logan. This is Zane. He streams on Twitch. He claims. And today, we're here to talk about Monster House. Monster House is an Oscar-nominated animated film directed by Gil Keenan about a haunted house across the street from a young boy named DJ, played by Mitchell Musso before he went on Shane Dawson's podcast and revealed how much of a fucking dirtbag he is. Anyway, he, his friend Chowder, played by Sam Lerner, and a neighborhood Girl Scout or some shit, I don't really know what she was, named Jenny, played by Spencer Locke, fight against the house as it attempts to commit legitimately heinous acts of violence, like kill skeevy weirdos who try to blur the lines of consent and shitty police officers. Oh no. Oh, how terrible. Oh no, don't do it. Don't kill the police officers and yucky weird pervs. That's not based at all. Anyway, its animation uses motion capture performances, being one of the first animated projects to do so on a large, full feature length. Monster House had a purposeful blend of realism and fantasticism in its characters and its world designs, with the characters being more lanky and cartoonish and the surroundings either being hyper-realistic or campishly demonic. Every character was perfectly drawn with asymmetrically, something that might make Tim Burton come. Monster House has a cast so big it puts Amsterdam to shame, with Steve Buscemi, Maggie Gyllenhaal, John Heder, Jason Lee, Kevin James, Kathleen Turner, Fred Willard, Catherine O'Hara, and modern-day creepy-ass Johnny Appleseed himself, Nick Cannon. With a stock cast and a devoted cult following in mind, let's dive into the wholly iconic Monster House.
See, I really think that it was a bold choice of them to go ahead and just use live-action Steve Buscemi in this and not... Everybody else animated, but that was actually Steve Buscemi.
No, it was not. It was. Well, I mean, it was. It was, but it wasn't.
Spot the difference.
Okay. Anyway, so Monster House. All right. So as I mentioned before, it was nominated for Best Animated Feature, and it was one of the first large-scale motion capture animated films ever made. So, what do I think about it? I think it's pretty good most of the time. That being said, not all of the time. Sometimes it's quite bad. It really is kind of like a mixed bag. I feel like the animation's so great, and a lot of the base character performances, like Mitchell Musso and the other kids, they were really good. But sometimes the writing was weird.
Yeah.
Like really weird. Like really
like what is actually happening?
Yeah, like who was hurt? You know what I mean? Like, especially when it came to the Fred Willard dad and the son, and that sequence where he's about to leave. This is in the very beginning of the movie, no spoilers. He's about to leave his son for like a weekend or something, I don't know. Yeah. And maybe they're going to a swinger party, what up? But I don't know. It seemed like they were in haste of going somewhere without their child. And he wouldn't say he loved him or give him a hug or anything. And it was played for comedy, but I was just like, well, that's sad. With all that in mind, I still give Monster House like a solid 6 out of 10. I think that it's a fun movie. It is hard to not have a fun time watching it. I'll get into some more of the problematic aspects that delve more into the spoiler section of things. Yeah. Mitchell Musso is a monster, but he's great in this movie. So yeah, I would give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah. So that's I remember watching this movie all the time as a kid. Like, it was one of my go-to, like, as far as just like animated Halloween movies or whatever. It was like Nightmare Before Christmas, Monster House. So I constantly used to watch this. It's been a number of years since I've watched it though, and looking back at it as a grown-up, I'm like, oh, it does. There's a lot of stuff in here that does not hold up, and I think that when I was a kid, it was probably like an 8 or so. Now seeing it was without so much the rose-colored glasses, I'd kind of agree with you, 6. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 6.5. Just, to pay homage to the
Yeah,
nostalgia
I think
have
that's
for
where
it.
I land too. I think I said a 6, but I'm landing more at a 6.5
Yeah.
because you can't avoid how fun it is.
It's a good time. There are a lot of parts where I'm like, okay, that doesn't really work anymore, but it's still like if you go back and you watch it, like you're not gonna have a bad time watching it unless there is something in there that just like really sets you off. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head but yeah,
we'll get into all that. So 6.5, 6.5. Lacey, did you want to mention your thoughts on Monster House? I'm curious.
Hi guys, it's producer Lacey.
Producer Lacey.
I liked it. I kind of agree with you guys. I think for like rewatchability, I still enjoy this movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, and I was like, wow, like I still enjoy it to like this day to some extent. So I think I'll give it like a 7 out of 10 because I think the animation still holds up. Like
the animation's still very good.
How they did all of that with like the little.
And the sound design, to just get into the sound design a bit without any spoilers, when the house is moving around and you hear all that peaking and creaking, the way they accomplished that was a blend of a voice actor as well as they recorded the inside of the house as it was demolished.
That's awesome.
That's really
and then
cool.
they blended that audio in an empty barn in the middle of the country to get that echoey. So all of this was very practically done. The sound design was masterfully done. Like everything about this movie as far as its production is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, and I think that's why I give it an extra half a point, because like good on you guys for doing that.
If only they knew how to write a better script.
Yeah.
But no offense or anything. Yeah,
I feel like the script kind of fit like when it came out though too. Like everything kind of ages over time. Maybe not so gracefully as they would have hoped, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it's less so the problematic stuff because I can get behind that being like a product of the time.
Yeah.
But there's also just like some weak ass characters in there where it's like they could have been written better, or like there could have been a little bit more agency with some of them, or just like things that are like, oh, this seems like it's going to be a proper plot point, and then it's just not. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yep. Moving on to the next part. Yeah, pretty much how it always goes with that movie. It's like, oh, and that's over. Got it. The depiction of the police is accurate though. So 7 and 2 6.5s. All right. Yeah. Cool. We'll be right back, and we're going to do the spoilers of Monster House. Hey, goblins and ghouls, we're back, and we're here to talk about the spoilers and go further into Monster House. So one of the things I wanted to mention before we get into the plot stuff, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the production. So the director, Gil Keenan, he did something that every director does when they go to make a movie, and he made a wish list of everybody he wanted to be in this movie. And, you know, usually wish lists tend to be exactly that, just wish lists. He got every single person he wanted for this movie.
Seriously?
Every single person that wrote was written down, from Mitchell Musso to John Heater to Kevin James to Catherine O'Hara, everybody. He got every single person he wrote down because they were all so interested in the type of animation that they were going to be doing and the type of movie making. And this movie was fraught with tons of production issues.
Yeah.
John Heater actually openly said he hated the children in this movie. He said
really?
I actually have the quote. Hold on.
Oh my gosh. I thought they did great.
No, he hated them as people.
Oh. Well, I mean, they were just children.
Yeah, according to this, John Heater claimed the kids were so wild on set, he had to tell them to stop screaming multiple times, and at one point was even thrown something at them. The younger girl multiple times stormed off set crying about how wild the other two younger boys were.
Aww.
Jeez.
So they were wild, and the thing is this entire movie, which took months and months and months to make, they all made it in, you know, what was essentially the size of like a children's gymnasium, covered in little dots in thin props. You know, like the cars were all wire, the elements, because they had to act everything out for the motion capture, but they didn't have like substantial props. So for instance, Steve Buscemi was talking about how for like the first few months of shooting, he just couldn't get used to it. How they were like acting and there was nothing around and like at all.
Well, it's one of those things that I think that on like the special credits of The Mummy, Brendan Fraser was talking about. He's like, oh yeah, the director kept telling us like overact, but we couldn't see anything because they were going to be CGI'd in. So they were like, oh, we thought we all did terrible, and then they actually made the movie and it came out beautiful. So it's same basic principle. I can only imagine trying to do some stuff like this.
It's hard to get as much out of the artistic experience from a performer side when you're doing so much with digital effects and everything. But, you know, I still think that, especially when it comes to Buscemi, he killed this movie. I mean, he is the best cratchety old man you can imagine.
But at the same time, if this was a traditional classic animated feature, they wouldn't have any interactions at all. They would just be in a booth somewhere.
Yeah. Sure.
So that's kind of a cool aspect of being able to act with your fellow actors and actresses and see that for an animation film.
I think it was interesting because, like, the art style made it seem non-realistic. Like I said, all the characters were drawn asymmetrically and strangely. But I think it's interesting that because of the natural performance and the way that all the actors did everything, like not being in booths, it made it hyper-realistic to me.
Yeah.
While also being totally batshit crazy.
Yeah.
So that element was cool. There were some parts where I had thought, I can tell that somebody did act that, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And as far as physical performance goes, like some falling down and stuff like that, it just
where
you could tell if they had prop falled.
Like,
you know, you could tell like there was nothing to hide it because it was just physically what their body did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you get this incredibly impressive performance from everybody because it doesn't feel like anyone is in a booth at all. Like it feels like this naturally occurred, even though it never could.
All of the characters feel very alive, whereas a lot of like that's why a lot of people complain about like dubbed anime and stuff because it's like it feels very over the top and whereas like actual people talking, you get more of those direct interactions, and it doesn't. There's no stopgap between the way that you're talking and the way that your body is moving.
Yeah. I mean, so all that stuff was really great with the performances. Now, let's get into the movie a little bit. Yeah, parts of the plot were pretty bad. I think that that's a fair thing to say, but
he just steals a woman. He just steals.
Whoa, she said she but she said she wanted to go with.
She did want to go.
But so did the
and she loved him.
Did the carnival
moving him
own her? Like was she not free to go?
Yeah.
Did you not know
how carnivals work?
Franny bought me from a carnival like 6 years ago. Sorry.
But no, I think for like the logistics of stuff like that, I feel like, I mean, like they possibly could like basically own like their entertainment, you know?
Whoa, harsh. But
I mean, no, like way back in the day.
Yeah. No, you're right. And also, I don't know how I feel about the plot of the movie being that it's a woman who was super fat and angry that turned into a house.
Yeah.
But that's what the plot is. So, you know, it is what it is. Now, let me ask you something now. As a homeowner, Lacey, if you were to die at your house, would you want to haunt it?
I don't know. I feel like it would get boring after a while.
Because I know that you hate when kids fuck with your yard and stuff. So it's like...
We hate when kids like
climb over fences and like could fall off.
Well, you wouldn't like if somebody was throwing rocks at you.
Pipes.
You wouldn't like if somebody threw a rock at you, which was what happened to her.
Yeah.
I feel like she's based.
Yeah.
Now, hear me out. Because I know that
she did go at them with an axe, though.
They were throwing rocks at her face and not leaving upon being threatened. At what point do you get out an axe and act like you're going to fucking chop up some kids so they go the fuck away?
Act like.
And not to mention, she was in the carnival where she probably had, we saw things were thrown at her and she was treated poorly all the time.
Yeah. So now that she's out, she doesn't want that same kind of stuff happening. I get it.
Yeah.
Like I said.
And all she did was kill rapists and cops, like, based. You know, like I'm sorry, I don't hate the house as much as that was me being problematic. But yeah, I don't hate the house as much as other people do. I don't know. I don't mind the house so much.
I kind
of like the house.
I love the bait and switch with it, where like through the whole first half of the movie, like when you're actually first experiencing it, where they're like, old man Nevercracker died, and that's the reason that the house is going after killing kids. Because in the first part of the movie, they're talking about like old man Nevercracker's spirit has taken over the house and he's going to start killing kids.
See, but I knew it wasn't him though from the first time I saw it, because when he's leaving, the grass is trying to hold on to him.
Yeah, no, I get that. And that's stuff that like you can get in subsequent watches. And also like if you're paying attention to it, or you could have seen that as he died and then his spirit wasn't wanting to let go of his body. So he was trying to hold on to himself.
Yeah, that's what
I feel. When I first saw the movie, I knew it wasn't him.
Yeah, no.
But I do agree that it wasn't clear what it was. And it's a cool reveal.
I think that it was specifically set up to be that way, to where if you were paying attention, you could probably catch that it wasn't actually him. But it could be believed if they did just fully go that route, it wouldn't be weird that it was him. So I think that they did a really good job of kind of like setting up that storyline and then making him a really tragic character that you can just absolutely fall in love with.
All right, quick pivot. Chowder sucks, right?
Fuck Chowder.
Chowder's the worst. I mean, Chowder...
We're talking about the TV show, right?
No, I'm talking about the boy with the cape who doesn't know about consent.
Yeah.
No, but that does happen. But ultimately, I don't like that character at all.
It seems like somebody took one writing class and was like, I'm going to write just like the most obnoxious, like just
there's 4 fat people in the movie. I counted, and I do because representation's important. And all 4 of them are kind of terrible in their own like John Heater's character is a little chubby, right? The guy playing the video game, the man of the video game playing arts.
Whoa. I thought that Skull was like...
You thought Skull was a god?
A god amongst men.
Yeah, no. You know what's funny?
For 4 days straight with nothing but an adult-sized diaper and a gallon of chocolate milk.
I thought it was a glass of chocolate milk. Is it a gallon?
I thought they said a gallon of chocolate milk, which my thought process was like, at some point in those 4 days, that chocolate milk was not okay to drink.
Yeah, for sure not. Unless he had like a little free, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, somebody was bringing it back and forth to him. Just like
probably those fucking nerds, dude.
Just like, feed it to me.
Yeah, and so then there was Chowder, the police officer, and the house.
Yeah.
The big house.
The house.
I don't know. I feel like they could have done a little bit, because the movie's also not that long. Like, they could have added a little bit more character development on it, pretty much everybody. But just a tinge.
I think the thing that like, so typically I would be like, yeah, that is fucked up that they kind of like fucked over all of the fat people in this. Mm-hmm. But also, like, I don't know that there was a single good person in the movie.
Disagree.
Nevercracker.
Okay, what about DJ, the kid? What's wrong with DJ? He just wants to have people not die from a monster house.
Dude, he was like constantly running around like Chowder was awful, but DJ was also being awful to Chowder.
Because Chowder's awful.
Yeah, but they're both shitty little kids.
Yeah,
like, that's fair enough.
Then let's disregard the kid aspect. All the adults, there's still good adults too. I mean, one? Personally, I'm a fan of the mother, even though she's completely brain dead. She was trying to get that father to say that he loved that child. That's an important thing to do, I believe.
Yeah.
Now, should she have questioned why they were covered in like fucking demolition derby dirt? I don't know. Maybe she should have, but she didn't, and that's okay. She's still a queen. What's up, Catherine O'Hara?
Okay, so we've got two good characters two good human beings in this movie.
Yeah, and also the babysitter at the end of the day isn't actually that bad. She's just kind of a cunt, a little bit, you know?
Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She's just a teenager, though.
Yeah, exactly. And Maggie Gyllenhaal is like, she's so good as this character.
That's like one of the things that I do want to give.
All the characters are like, they're I feel like decent characters. Like they represent kids well, teenagers, adults.
Yeah,
But
they
that's
just,
what I'm
so.
saying.
but they
Like,
just needed more time.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel like the movie would have been improved so much if they had spent like they had this big plan that we saw them overtake with the vacuum cleaner and all this stuff. Why couldn't we have gotten a longer bit where they had planned that out? We just got like a 3-second montage building to that. I think it would have been a nice character moment instead of just like they had the gun exchange and they were getting all their supplies. But if they even had one conversation like, this is how we should go after the house, it would have added 5 minutes to the movie and it would have helped with all of their character development. Because when she kisses DJ at the end, I'm like, why? Because he's not the fat one?
Yeah. That's basically what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
I know.
you're so brave. And it's like, Chowder's
literally fighting the monster.
Running. He's specifically like slapping his ass and he's like, come fucking get it. Like,
He's hitting it with a and
Yeah.
DJ's brave because he climbed a ladder. What a pussy.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't believe it.
yeah.
I feel like Lacey's
Exactly that.
dumbfounded right now.
It's just
No, that's exactly. I was like,
I don't have
as
any
the movie
opinions.
was playing out, I'm like, I remember like her falling for DJ, but I couldn't remember why.
There's
And
no
then, like,
reason why. And
We
there-
watched the movie, and it's like
and it doesn't have to be complex. It could be so minimal. Just give us like a little bit. And the thing is I don't think it comes down to an issue with the writing or the directing. I think it really boils down to this was an incredibly hard movie to make, and every scene was incredibly expensive to accomplish. So they just made the split decision like this is going to be very streamlined, and it works for that, and that's why it's a fun movie to watch.
It's a fun, quick little romp.
It's
but
hard to judge it like as other movies because this was so much a pioneer in what it was trying to do.
Yeah.
If this movie was made now and they elaborated a bit more on the script, I believe this could potentially be a 10 out of 10 movie because it's incredibly cute. It's really well animated. There are great moments in it. The concept's awesome.
Yeah.
And timeless. And I don't know how many other Halloween themed horror movies were nominated for best animated feature. This has got to be one of the only ones ever.
Mm-hmm.
If it might even be the only one. I don't know. So wait, Wallace and Gromit, Beware of the Were-Rabbit won best animated feature. So there was that. But other than that, I think that's it. So what was some of your favorite moments in the movie?
It's so dumb, and it is one of the things that
it. Don't be so mean to it.
No. The moment that I like.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I'm not saying. I'm not just over here like the movie was fucking dumb, and I gave it a 6.5. Like that's still pretty decent. But the scene where like I don't like that they quickly wrote it off, but the scene where they do the callback to the pee and the jugs, and I cannot remember what it is, but I thought that this was the movie where when they have the peeing in the jugs, they're like, no, it's Mountain Dew. Like, I swear. And then they take a drink. It's in one movie. If you remember what it is, write it down in the comments below because I cannot for the life of me remember what it was. I thought it was in this movie, but then it didn't happen. I was like, thank Christ, because that's an awful bit. But I do love the callback to like, the first time
where
that
she
she's walking
picks
in
up
and
the pee and he's like, don't drink that.
Is this pee? I hate that. I'm leaving. And it's like just so fucking funny.
Yeah, that scene is pretty funny. I agree. I like the scene where they're inside of the house. I don't know. It's got that goosebumpy, spooky, scary time vibes. It's finally a point in the plot where it feels like our main character has a bit of a control over the situation or is really just actually doing something.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean like they've been dealing with this house and like trying to convince people to believe it's real. And now we're getting to this point where they're like, fuck that. I'm taking action. Come here, you fat boy in a cape and you Girl Scout that thinks we're weird. We're fucking doing this shit.
Yeah.
And they go and they're going to go fucking find the heart. And what they find is the truth.
That was beautiful.
No, but seriously, that is my favorite scene when they finally get inside the house. What about you, Lacey?
I like all the build-up scenes to where they're like you're starting to see the house come alive, like when Chowder loses his ball in the grass,
The bottle of beer into the ground.
yeah, and stuff like that. I really like all those aspects, and I also like the ending when Mr. Nevercracker gives out all the toys that the house had
That
stolen
was
over the
so
years. It was
cute.
so
Yeah.
heartwarming. Like,
That
could you
was so
imagine
cute.
Halloween and like you get your lost toy from way back when?
Yeah, dude.
I love that.
Bones did get his kite back.
Or
Yeah.
He won't get my respect back though.
the scene where like the ball comes bouncing out and Chowder being the fucking idiot. He's like, "Oh, my ball!" Even though he's fallen for that bit 3
And then it
times.
turns and it's the evil
Well, yeah, he
face.
slaps it a bunch of times and it's that evil face. And I'm like, that's really fucking good. I like that. Like it played so well. It was goofy and tongue in cheek a little bit, and it was just cute enough but while still being unsettling, and I loved that.
Yeah, and I also just liked the Nebercracker redemption in general. I think that part of it's really cute. It was really sad when I thought he was gonna go with the house, and I was very worried because I don't remember how this movie fucking ended. It's been fucking. I opened my DVD copy for this.
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't opened it, and I probably got it like 6 years ago. So I was like, oh, let's do it. I watched all the special features and everything. But I got to that part, and I'm like, oh shit, is he gonna die?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, no. I'm like, I remember Chowder like hitting somebody with like a wrecking ball or some shit. And then it wasn't that. It was something even crazier. And then at the part at the end when he's giving out and then he does that bit too where he's like, all right, now stay off my lawn. And for like half a second, like, what? He's like, I'm just fucking around.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, a man with humor. After everything
What
you've
an
been
absolute
through,
legend.
you fucking angel.
But before that, at the beginning of the movie, he was so terrifying. Like,
For
I
sure.
remember watching it as a kid and being so afraid.
It's like seeing Steve Buscemi in real life. Like at first you're like, ah! And then you're like,
Oh, hey.
Steve Buscemi.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Is he looking at me or is he? No, I'm just kidding. Is he looking at me or is he looking at you? Regardless, the man's a legend.
This one's looking at the both of us.
But yeah, no, all that shit was so cute. Is there anything else we wanted to say about Monster House? I mean, just the voice performances are great. Nick Cannon's a monster. I mentioned that, but he's in the movie. Yeah, I mean, I thought Kevin James is super funny as the cop.
Dude, Kevin James cut me up every time. Like, as Nick Cannon's rolling around, like getting to the side of the house, and he's fucking walking up, and he's like, what the fuck is he doing? Knock. Like him playing the straight man the whole time is just like so good.
I like the part where he goes, "Hey, I'm gonna let that slide because that dance was really funny." That shit was so good. No, he was actually super funny. Like I loved him in this. And like it's the one time where like I saw a depiction of a cop and I was like, that's true and funny.
Yeah.
Because they were totally fucking bumbling oafs. But he was pretty great.
Yeah.
Anything else anybody wanted to mention? I think you guys should just watch it this holiday season. It's on Netflix. It's a good
For a
time.
limited time.
For a limited time. When does it go off Netflix?
I think September 30th.
Oh shit, so
Yeah,
never mind.
so watch it before
Actually,
Halloween.
This will come out.
This is coming out in October.
Oh, yeah.
So it's already going to be.
We're recording in the past.
Let me tell you something, guys. The internet totally doesn't have ways to watch this movie illegally, so you can't do it that way.
Or you could always rent it and be a good little angel.
Noodle.
Sure.
Yeah, good noodle.
Sure, you can rent it, and if you do, check it out because it's actually quite great. I think it's a good enough time to get into. Now, there wasn't anything else we wanted to mention, so right after this, we're gonna get into a little story time. We'll be right back. Hey folks, we're back in the search of blood to terrorize y'all's neighborhood. Now let me tell you something. This game, or I guess I could say more of a story time, is based around what the movie is, which is essentially spooky shit that happens in your childhood. Everybody has a story about it. I have a couple. Did you guys want me to go first? Did one of you want to go first?
You go ahead, go first.
All right. I'll tell two, and then if we need more, I do have more. But this is insane. All right. So the first thing is a true story that is definitively true. So there was this guy in the neighborhood that we had all dubbed in my group of friends the Umbrella Man. And the Umbrella Man was this guy who every single day would walk around outside with his umbrella up. And we thought, that's fucking spooky. And we were right. because one day at my elementary school, we were playing on the playground. A guy walks up to our playground and starts talking to us, telling us about his umbrella as a secret weapon, shit like that. And my principal chased him off on foot. Chased his ass blocks and blocks. And like the thing is, the whole neighborhood was already scared of this guy. But then when he walked up to us and like we, you know, every kid's like these kids, we make jokes about him. We didn't like make fun of him to his face or anything, but we were like, oh, it's the umbrella man. Oh no. And then he like, I don't know if he picked up on that, but he came at us pretty aggressive. He walked up like really fucking scary. So I had one of those like nibber cracker moments where the dude really came up in our face.
First he killed JFK, and then he tried to steal a child. You know that conspiracy theory, right?
Yes,
the Umbrella
yes.
Man? Yeah, okay.
So the Umbrella Man, that was one that was pretty popular in our neighborhood. Another ghostly thing that happened to me happened in my own home. And this one, I'm just going to tell you what I remember as a child. I'm not trying to substantiate ghosts or say that they're real. Chances are I just don't remember things correctly, or I was a stupid child and didn't understand. But one day I was grounded. And my house was pretty old. It was like 100 plus years old when I was living there, so it's even older. Now it's like 200 because I'm super old now. But it was a pretty old house. And I was grounded one day, and my dad and my sister left, and it was just me at home. And I was chilling in my room, had a bolt lock on it, and I hear arguing between a girl and a guy that sound nothing like my dad at all. I didn't understand what they were saying. I could just, you know how you hear that murmuring and you hear the voices, but you can't really make out what they're saying. And then I'm like listening next to the door, you know, but I can't open the door because I'm not allowed to leave my room because I'm grounded as shit, and I won't tell you why. But it's not that bad actually. I honestly can't even remember why. That's why I won't tell you. And when I was listening, the argument came to an end with a shout from the man. Don't remember what he said. And then it felt like somebody pushed my door, like, and you know, it kind of shook on the hinges, and it jingled that bolt lock a little bit. And I was like, "What the hell?" So I opened the door, and I opened it up because I assumed that's, hey, somebody wants to talk to me. They just knocked on my door essentially. Yeah. So, and I see my attic door shut, which has never been open as long as I've lived there.
Yeah, nope.
I went around my house, looked for my dad. Looked for my sister. Nobody was home.
That's a 100% bona fide nope.
So now listen, could somebody's TV had been on? Could I have had a fucking fugue state moment? I don't know.
Could somebody be living in your walls?
Yeah, I'm living in your walls, James. You know that TikTok? No, it doesn't matter. So that's mine. You guys think of what you want of it. I still don't necessarily believe in ghosts. I just know that series of events felt like it happened to me. Who wants to go next?
So we're in kind of like an area that's right outside of a pretty big metropolitan city. And I've grown up in this area my whole life. But the weird part about this is we're close enough to the south to where there's just randomly farmland. It's like farmland, suburbs, metropolis, like just all shoved together.
It really kind of is.
And there's
like
no
that. Yeah.
rhyme or reason to it.
No.
So like while I could be 5 minutes from my like childhood home, I could be downtown. Also, right behind my childhood home was a bunch of farmland. And I always remember like, so there were 3 neighborhoods that were all kind of like attached loosely to each other, but there was a farmer on either side that every single one of the kids in my neighborhood swears up and down that they would try to shoot you if they saw you on their land. And there was always all these childhood stories about like, oh, technically they're legally allowed to do it if you're on their land because they're trying to protect their animals or blah, 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 what have you. But I do just remember right past one of the farmers' lands was like this really cool wooded area that we had like built forts and everything in. So regularly we did cut across that farmer's land. And there were a number of times that like we would be walking across the land and you would hear like either 4-wheelers or gunshots, Probably because farmers were hunting deer in the woods, or like they had farmland, so they were riding their four-wheelers around. Probably not shooting at children.
Maybe they were just shooting their guns because they fucking had farmland and wanted to shoot their guns. I mean, there's possibly that.
I'm like, there's 1,000
Yeehaw and whatnot.
But yeah, I just remember every time that, like, if we heard four-wheelers, we would all start, like, running through the field, desperately trying to, like, dive into the woods and, like, hide behind trees and, like, try to see, like, are they coming? They didn't. They weren't. They were probably on the entire other side of their land. But yeah, it was just always one of those things where, like, kids in the neighborhood would be like, yeah, dude, James says that he almost got shot. Like, his older brother had to pick buckshot out of his ass. Like, just the craziest shit. And it was just like, it's such a weird thought process for me, because it's like, I lived basically right in the city while also living in the middle of fucking nowhere. And it's just, I've got all these weird interactions.
And no bullets in you. Ain't that something?
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like kids over exaggerate.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Lacey?
So where I lived, it was literally in the middle of nowhere. Absolute middle of nowhere. If you can imagine the middle of nowhere, it's there. Nothing.
Actually, it's past there, 30 minutes down back roads into an old coal ravine.
BFE, right?
No, yeah, exactly.
Home of the Woolly Worm Festival. If you know, you don't know. There's 5 people that live there.
It'd be crazy if somebody like figured it out, like they studied up.
Yeah, they looked up
but
Home of the Woolly Worm.
For some reason, I don't remember a whole bunch of spooky stories. There might have been some for our town, but I don't remember. The closest thing I have
Bigfoot was her neighbor.
Is that one of my best friends, she always claimed her house
was
haunted.
Yeah. Haunted house.
Bigfoot could have been jiving down there. Who knows? There's enough forest that, yeah, you probably couldn't find them if you tried. So, but she had like a big old house and she always said it was haunted. And like, there was a few times that we'd be over there and like, strange noises would happen and all that stuff, but I just never really questioned it. But like, there was this one time I remember it was just like me and a couple of friends, and that was it at the house. And we heard people downstairs, and we thought like maybe her mom had come home or something like that. And we go downstairs, and nobody's there.
It was the demons.
You just gotta write it off and be like, oh yeah, that was weird. Okay, let's go upstairs and watch a movie. Like, let's just forget
all right, this. Satan. I'm gonna go watch.
Hold me once.
We're gonna go watch Step Brothers. Goodbye.
Yeah, but she would always claim like she would see like ghosts and stuff. It was fine. That's what I got. That's what I got from my childhood.
That's some spooky shit, though.
Yeah.
Just like, oh no, definitely we heard footsteps. We saw
yeah,
apparitions.
we saw an apparition. It threw stuff at us, but like, who knows?
No big deal.
We had other things to do. We were braiding each other's hair and watching Camp Rock.
It threw up ectoplasm all over my friend, but like, who knows?
You don't understand. High School Musical was out, and Zac Efron was looking like a snack.
He was looking like a snack.
No, I feel like we were either watching like horror movies we shouldn't have been watching, or SpongeBob. There was no in between. Like that was it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We love that. All right, folks. I feel like that's what we got as far as childhood stories. Leave some of your creepy stories down in the comments. We want to be titillated and terrified at the same time. So make them say, no, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, leave down the stories. We'd love to read them. Also, let us know what you thought of Monster House and its crazy production and how it came together. And also, tell us what happened to John Heater. Oh, and make sure to like and subscribe and leave comments and Zane Twitches, I guess. And you can check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Logan Tyler. I have a political podcast over there. And by this point in time, I might have my Dragon Ball fan podcast up by then. I don't know. We'll see. Be on the lookout for that. All right, kids. Peace out.
Bye-bye.
Much love.